In the far edge of the known galaxy, where starlight grew thin and silence ruled the void, there floated a forgotten world wrapped in mist and memory. This planet, called Virelia, had once been a jewel of the Silthari Empire, home to graceful beings with pointed ears, luminous eyes, and souls woven from starlight and song. But that was centuries ago. Now Virelia was quiet, its cities buried under vines, its towers softened by time, its people gone, except for one. Her name was Luna. She lived alone in the heart of the whispering woods, where trees pulsed with soft blue light and rivers sang in low harmonic tones. Her skin was pale like moonstone, her hair long and silver white, flowing like liquid starlight down her back. Her eyes, sharp and green as forest pools, missed nothing. She moved without sound, bare feet brushing over moss and stone, her presence known only to the wind and the creatures who still remembered her bloodline. Among those creatures were her dragons. They were not like the beasts of ancient human tales, huge, roaring monsters of fire and fury. Luna's dragons were sleek, intelligent, and deeply bonded to her through an old magic older than the stars. The smallest ember was no bigger than a large dog, with scales like polished copper and eyes that flickered with warmth. She slept curled at Luna's feet and chirped like a bird when happy. The largest, Stormwing, had wings that spanned 30 feet when open, his scales dark as thunderclouds, his voice a deep hum that could calm storms or summon them. Luna spoke to them not with words, but with thoughts, feelings, pulses of energy that flowed between them like breath. They were her family, her protectors, her only companions in a world emptied by war. Long ago, the Krell, a ruthless species that fed on conquest and genetic power, had attacked the Silthari. They sought the Silthari's rare DNA, said to hold the key to immortality and perfect adaptation. The Silthari fought bravely, but betrayal from within shattered their defenses. Within a single cycle, their civilization fell. Luna's mother, the last queen, hid her daughter in Virelia's sacred grove and sealed it with ancient wards before vanishing into battle, never to return. For over 200 years, Luna waited. Not for rescue, she knew none would come, but for purpose. She trained, she studied the old texts carved into living stone. She listened to the whispers of the planet itself. She was the last, and the last carried the weight of all who came before. Then, one evening, as the twin moons of Virelia rose in perfect alignment, the sky tore open. A ship, small, human, and badly damaged, streaked through the upper atmosphere, trailing smoke and sparks. It spun wildly, its engines dead, its hull groaning under stress. Luna stood on the highest ridge of the Singing Cliffs, watching it fall. Humans rarely came this far. The Galactic Council had declared this sector off-limits after the Silthari collapse, a neutral zone sealed by treaty. Yet here one was, crashing into her solitude like a stone into still water. She did not move at first. She watched, waited, wondered if it was a trick. But when the ship hit the valley floor with a muffled boom and silence followed, no signals, no escape pods, no movement, something in her stirred. Not curiosity, duty. She descended the cliffs with Ember at her side and Stormwing circling high above, his shadow gliding over the trees like a guardian spirit. The crash site was a mess of twisted metal and scorched earth. Smoke curled into the violet sky. Luna approached cautiously, her dagger drawn, a blade forged from Silthari crystal, humming faintly with stored energy. She circled the wreckage, senses alert. Then a sound, a weak cough. From the broken cockpit, a figure crawled out, human, female, young. Her flight suit was torn, her face streaked with soot and blood. She collapsed just a few feet from the ship, gasping, one hand clutching her side. Luna stepped closer. The human looked up, eyes wide with pain and fear. "Please," she whispered. "Help!" Luna studied her. Humans were fragile, emotional, chaotic. Yet this one had flown alone into forbidden space. That took courage, or desperation. Without a word, Luna knelt and placed a hand on the human's forehead. She felt the fever, the internal injuries, the fading pulse. Death was already circling. "You are not supposed to be here," Luna said, her voice soft but clear, like wind through crystal chimes. "I didn't have a choice," the human managed. "They were chasing me." Luna did not ask who. She did not need to. The Krell had been hunting stragglers for decades, collecting rare species like trophies. If this human had something they wanted, they would not stop until they had it. Or her. Luna made her decision. She lifted the human with surprising strength and carried her through the forest, Ember trotting ahead to clear the path. Stormwing landed nearby, folding his great wings, and let out a low, soothing tone that calmed the air itself. Back in the grove, Luna laid the human on a bed of healing moss, a living plant that responded to Silthari touch. She pressed her palms to the woman's chest and closed her eyes. Energy flowed from her, blue and warm, knitting bone, sealing vessels, easing pain. The human slept for 2 days. When she woke, Ember was curled against her side, purring like a cat. Sunlight filtered through the glowing leaves above, and Luna sat nearby, sharpening her dagger with a stone, watching her with quiet intensity. "Where am I?" the human asked, voice rough but stronger. "Viralia," Luna replied. "My world. I'm Claire," she said after a pause. "Luna." Claire tried to sit up but winced. "My ship, gone, beyond repair." Claire sighed, but there was no panic in her eyes, only resignation. "I figured. I was running on fumes when they hit my engines." "Who hit you, Krell scouts?" "I stole something from them." Luna's eyes narrowed. "What?" Claire hesitated, then reached into a hidden pocket in her flight suit. She pulled out a small crystalline data shard, glowing faintly red, a genetic archive. From a Silthari lab they raided near the outer rim. I was part of a resistance cell. We intercepted their transport. I was the only one who got away. Luna went very still. That archive. It might contain the last records of her people. Their songs, their history, their names. "You risked your life for this?" Luna asked. "Someone had to," Claire said simply. "Your people didn't deserve to be erased." Something cracked open in Luna's chest, a feeling she had buried long ago. Hope. Over the next week, Claire healed quickly thanks to the grove's magic and Luna's care. She learned to move quietly, to listen to the forest, to understand the dragon's moods. Ember adored her, following her everywhere, even stealing Luna's favorite fruit to give to Claire as a gift. Stormwing allowed Claire to sit near him, a rare honor. Luna taught her basic Silthari signs, the silent language of hands and eyes used when words might attract danger. Claire, in turn, told stories of Earth. Oceans, cities, music, laughter. Luna listened, fascinated. Her world had been one of survival and silence. Claire spoke of life. One night, as they sat by a pool that reflected the twin moons, Claire asked, "Why do you stay here alone?" "I am the last," Luna said. "If I leave, who will guard the grove, the memories, the dragons? But you're not alone anymore," Claire said softly. Luna looked at her. Really looked. Claire's eyes held no pity, only understanding, and something else. Loyalty. Before Luna could respond, Stormwing let out a sharp, warning cry. Both women stood in the distance beyond the singing cliffs. 3 dark shapes descended from the sky. Krell interceptors, sleek and silent, their hulls absorbing light. They had found them. "How?" Claire whispered. "The shard," Luna said. "It emits a trace signal. They've been tracking it." Claire's face paled. "I'm sorry. I didn't know." "It is not your fault," Luna said, already moving. "They would have come anyway. They always do." She retrieved her weapons. Dagger, bow made of living wood, quiver of energy-tipped arrows. Ember hissed, scales flaring. Stormwing took to the sky, his form blending with the clouds. "You must hide," Luna told Claire. "No," Claire said, grabbing a fallen branch, then thinking better of it. She spotted a Silthari energy lance leaning against a tree, old but functional. "I'm not hiding. I brought this fight to your door. I'll help end it." Luna studied her for a long moment, then nodded. The Krell landed in the valley, 20 soldiers in full armor led by a towering officer with a scarred face and a voice like grinding metal. They marched toward the grove, scanners sweeping the trees. "Surrender the human and the archive," the officer boomed, "and we may let the last Silthari live." Luna stepped from the shadows at the grove's edge. Bow drawn. "You are not welcome here," she said. The Krell laughed, a harsh, grating sound. Then the battle began. Luna fired first. Her arrow struck a soldier's visor, exploding in a burst of blue fire. Ember darted forward, leaping onto another Krell, her small jaws clamping onto his weapon arm, melting it with a short plasma burst. Stormwing dove from above, wings flared, unleashing a sonic pulse that sent 3 soldiers flying. Claire stayed back at first, fumbling with the energy lance. But when a Krell broke through the tree line and charged her, she raised the weapon and fired. The beam sliced through his chest. He fell. She stared at her hands, trembling but not from fear. From power, she joined Luna at the front line. Together they fought like storm and flame. Luna moved with deadly grace, every strike precise, every step silent. Claire was wilder, louder, but clever, using the terrain, setting traps with fallen branches and vines, drawing enemies into Ember's ambushes. The Krell fell, one by one, but their commander remained. He advanced slowly, unfazed by the chaos. You fight well, Elf, but you cannot win. Your blood belong. Weeks passed on Veralia, and the rhythm of life in the grove settled into something new, something shared. Luna no longer walked the forest alone. Claire was always nearby, learning the old ways, tending the glowing moss beds, helping Ember practice controlled plasma bursts, and even attempting to understand Stormwing's deep, resonant language of hums and wing flicks. She was clumsy at first, loud where she should be quiet, fast where she should be still, but she tried, and Luna noticed the Silthari data shard, now embedded in the heartstone of the grove, pulsed with gentle light each night, replaying fragments of history, songs, star maps, rituals, even children's lullabies. Claire would sit for hours listening, eyes wet with wonder. Your people were poets, she said one evening. Not just warriors. We were both, Luna replied, weaving vines into a new bowstring. To protect beauty, one must be strong. But peace, they both knew, was temporary. The Krell had retreated, but they would not forget. The shard was too valuable. And now they knew Luna was alive, the last Silthari princess, a living key to genetic perfection. Rumors would spread, hunters would come. Not just scouts, but fleets. One morning, as mist curled around the Singing Cliffs, Stormwing returned from a long patrol. He landed heavily, his wings drooping, a shallow gash along his shoulder. Ember rushed to him, chirping anxiously. Luna ran her hands over the wound. Plasma scoring. Krell marksman. Stormwing lowered his head and projected a memory image into her mind. A Krell warship, larger than any before, hovering near the outer asteroid belt. It bore the sigil of the Bloodclaw Legion, an elite division once responsible for the fall of the Silthari capital. They're coming back, Claire said, her voice tight. Not just coming, Luna whispered. They're preparing to end this. They had to act. That night, by the light of the twin moons, Luna led Claire deep into the ruins of the old Silthari Observatory, a domed structure half swallowed by roots, its ceiling open to the stars. In the center stood a pedestal, cracked but intact. This was the Nexus, she explained, the place where Silthari warriors once linked their minds to the planet's core, drawing strength from Veralia itself. If we activate it, Luna said, we can awaken the planetary shield, the one my ancestors used during the first invasions. It will hide Veralia from scanners, warp incoming ships, even repel small fleets. Why haven't you done it before? Claire asked. It requires two minds in harmony, one Silthari, and one bonded outsider, a true ally, not just a guest. Luna looked at her. I did not have that. Until you, Claire swallowed. What do I have to do? Stand with me. Hold my hands. And trust me with your thoughts. They stepped onto the platform. Luna placed Claire's palms against her own. Their fingers interlaced. Ember curled around the base of the pedestal. Stormwing perched on the broken dome above. Wings spread like a living roof. Luna closed her eyes and began to hum. A low, ancient tone that vibrated through the stone floor. The air shimmered. Light rose from the cracks in the pedestal, wrapping around them like liquid silver. Claire felt it then, a pull, deep in her chest, as if her very soul was being gently untangled and woven into something greater. Memories flashed. Her childhood on Earth, the loss of her parents, joining the resistance, the crash, Luna's hand on her forehead that first night. And Luna's memories came too. Her mother's last embrace. The silence after the war. Centuries of waiting in the dark. For the first time, they truly saw each other. The planet responded. A pulse of energy shot upward, invisible but powerful, rippling through the atmosphere. The stars above seemed to blur, then shift. The twin moons glowed brighter, then dimmed in a slow rhythmic pattern, like a heartbeat. The shield was active, but the effort left them both drained. They collapsed to their knees, breathing hard. It worked, Claire whispered. For now, Luna said, but the shield will not hold against a full assault. We need more. More what, allies? Claire frowned. Who would help us out here? Luna looked toward the eastern ridge where the ruins of an old relay tower stood. There is one place. The free colonies of Oris 7. Humans mostly. Outlaws, rebels, scientists who refused council rule. They hate the Krell. And they remember the Silthari. You want to go there? I cannot leave Viralia unprotected, Luna said. But you can. Claire stared at her. You want me to leave only for a short time. Take a message. Ask for help. Oris 7 has old Silthari tech. Maybe even a resonance key that can strengthen the shield permanently. Claire was silent for a long moment. The thought of leaving the grove, leaving Luna, made her chest ache, but she knew Luna was right. How do I get there? Luna led her to a hidden cavern behind the waterfall, a place Claire had never seen. Inside, resting on a stone cradle, was a small vessel. Not human. Not Krell. Silthari. It was shaped like a seed, smooth and white, with veins of blue light running along its hull. The sky bloom, Luna said. It responds to thought, not controls. It will take you, and it'll bring me back if you will it, Luna said. It knows your heart now. The next morning, they prepared. Ember whined and pressed her head into Claire's leg. Stormwing lowered his neck so she could climb onto his back. He would carry her to the launch point. At the edge of the grove, Luna handed her a small crystal pendant. This holds a piece of my energy. If you are in danger, break it. I will feel it, and I will come. Claire fastened it around her neck. Promise me you'll stay safe. I promise, Luna said. Then softly, come back to me. Claire nodded, climbed onto Stormwing, and they rose into the sky. The journey to Oris 7 took 3 days. The sky bloom moved faster than any human ship, folding space in quiet ripples. Claire slept little, watching the stars, touching the pendant often. Oris 7 was a dusty, chaotic world, a patchwork of domed cities, junkyards, and hidden labs. She landed in Sector 9 near a market known for black market tech and rebel whispers. Disguised in a borrowed cloak, she found the Resistance Hub, a bar called the Rusted Comet. Inside, humans and aliens of all kinds drank, argued, and traded secrets. She approached the bartender, a grizzled woman with cybernetic eyes. I'm looking for Captain Daniels, Claire said. The woman studied her. Why, I have a message. From Viralia. The bartender's eyes widened slightly. She nodded toward a back room. There, sitting at a table covered in star charts, was a woman with short red hair, a scar across her nose, and sharp green eyes. Captain Daniels. You're either very brave or very stupid, Daniels said. Virelia's been ghosted for 2 centuries. It's not ghosted, Claire said. It's guarded. By the last Silthari, Daniels leaned forward. Prove it. Claire broke the seal on a small data capsule Luna had given her. A hologram appeared. Luna, standing in the grove, speaking in the old tongue, then switching to basic galactic. To those who remember honor, the Bloodclaw Legion returns. If Virilia falls, the Krell will unlock the Silthari genome. None will be safe. Stand with us. Daniels was silent for a long time. Then she stood. We lost good people to the Krell. My brother was one of them. If there's a chance to hit them where it hurts, we're in. Over the next 2 days, Claire met with engineers, pilots, and fighters. They agreed to help, but only if they could verify the threat. Daniels proposed a scouting mission. Send a stealth drone toward Virelia's sector. See if the Bloodclaw fleet was really gathering. Claire agreed. But as they prepared the drone, alarms blared through the colony. Krell raiders, small, fast ships, had breached the outer perimeter. They weren't here for conquest. They were hunting. They tracked you, Daniels said grimly. Your ship's signature. Claire's blood ran cold. They'll find Viralia. Not if we stop them first. A battle erupted over Oris 7. Daniel's fighters engaged the Krell in a chaotic dogfight among the asteroid belts. Claire, though not a pilot, worked in the command center, relaying signals, rerouting power, doing everything she could in the chaos. She remembered Luna's words. Trust your instincts. She rerouted the colony's old defense grid, repurposed Silthari tech, buried decades ago, and used it to jam the Krell comms. Confused and blinded, 2 raiders collided. The rest fled. Afterward, Daniels clapped her on the shoulder. You've got fire, kid. Welcome to the fight. They launched the drone that night. 3 days later, it returned with footage that made everyone go still. A Krell dreadnought, massive, bristling with weapons, orbited near Virelia's edge. Smaller ships swarmed like insects. The Bloodclaw Legion was assembling for a full invasion. We have to move now, Daniel said. But Claire knew something they didn't. The planetary shield was weakening. Without the resonance key, it would fail in days. She turned to Daniels. There's a vault beneath the old science spire on Oris 7. Silthuri scientists hid things here before the fall. Maybe the key is there. They raced against time. In the vault, deep underground, they found it. A crystalline rod humming with soft light. The resonance key. This will boost the shield tenfold, Claire said. Then let's get it to Virelia, Daniels replied. As they prepared to leave, Claire felt a sharp pain in her chest. The pendant around her neck grew hot, then cracked. Luna was in danger, we have to go. Now, Claire said. The Sky Bloom responded to her urgency, launching faster than before. Daniels followed in her flagship, the Iron Wren, with a small fleet of volunteers. They arrived to find Virelia under siege. The victory over the Bloodclaw Legion brought quiet to Virelia, but not peace. The Krell had been pushed back, not destroyed. Their dreadnought limped away into deep space, and whispers on the rebel comms said they were regrouping near the shattered worlds of the Outer Rim. Worse, they now knew the truth. The last Silthari lived, and she was not alone. Luna felt the weight of it in her bones. For centuries, she had been a ghost, hidden and forgotten. Now she was a target, and so was Claire. In the days after the battle, the Grove became a place of healing and planning. Daniel's crew helped repair Stormwing's wing with reinforced biofilament from Aura 7. Ember, ever curious, followed the engineers everywhere, sniffing at tools and chirping at sparks. Claire worked alongside them, her hands now calloused, her movements sure. She no longer felt like a guest. She belonged. But Luna grew distant. She spent long hours at the Heartstone studying the recovered Silthari archives. She traced old star maps with her fingers, whispered names of lost cities, and stared at images of her mother's face, still young, still hopeful, frozen in time before the war. One evening, Claire found her there alone. You're thinking about leaving, aren't you? Claire asked softly. Luna didn't look up. The Krell will not stop. As long as I am here, they will keep coming. They will burn this grove to ash to get to me. So we fight them, Claire said. Together. And how many more will die? Luna turned, her green eyes full of sorrow. Daniels lost 2 pilots in that battle. Stormwing nearly died. You almost didn't make it back. Because of me. Because of us, Claire corrected. This isn't just your war anymore. It's mine too. Luna opened her mouth to argue, but stopped. She saw the truth in Claire's eyes. Not pity, not duty. Choice. Still, something had to change. The next morning, Luna called a meeting beneath the great arch of the observatory ruins. Daniels came down from orbit, along with her first officer, a quiet man named Jesse, and a Silthari tech specialist named Maya, human but raised on old Silthari data cores, fluent in their symbols. I have a plan, Luna said. She unrolled a star chart. It showed a system far beyond the neutral zone, deep in the dead zone where no ship dared go. At its center was a black hole surrounded by a ring of ancient debris. The Veil, Maya whispered, eyes wide. The Silthari vault world. It's real, Daniels asked. Yes, Luna said. My people built it as a final refuge, shielded by gravity wells and cloaking fields powered by the black hole itself. Nothing can find it unless you know the path. And you know it, my mother gave me the key before she left. Luna touched the crystal pendant she now wore, matching Claire's broken one, now repaired. But the vault isn't just a hiding place. It holds the Genesis core, a device that can rewrite Silthari DNA, restore what was lost. Or share it, Claire frowned. Share it? The Silthari genome was never meant to be hoarded, Luna explained. It was meant to uplift, to heal. If we activate the core, we can give others, humans, allies, even dragons, resistance to disease, faster healing, stronger minds. Not to make soldiers, to make survivors. Silence fell. Daniels was the first to speak. You're talking about changing the future of a dozen species. I'm talking about hope, Luna said, but there was a cost. The journey to the Veil would take weeks. The path was unstable, and once inside, the vault would seal behind them. No signal, no escape. For at least a cycle. It's a one-way trip unless we succeed, Maya said. Then we succeed, Claire said firmly. Preparations began at once. The Sky Bloom was upgraded with Aura 7 shielding. Daniel's ship, the Iron Wren, would escort them as far as the Dead Zone's edge. Stormwing and Ember would come too, The vault had dragon sanctuaries built when Siltharian dragons ruled the stars together. The night before departure, Claire sat with Luna on the singing cliffs. The twin moons cast long shadows. The forest hummed its quiet song. "Are you scared?" Claire asked. "Yes," Luna admitted, "but not of the journey. I'm scared that I'll fail, that I'll carry the last light of my people and let it go out." Claire took her hand. "You won't, because you're not carrying it alone anymore." Luna leaned her head on Claire's shoulder. For the first time in centuries, she let herself rest. The launch came at dawn. The sky bloom rose like a seed on the wind, followed by the iron wren, its hull patched but proud. Ember curled in the ship's cradle, purring. Stormwing flew alongside, his great wings catching the morning light. As they passed Virelia's upper atmosphere, Luna looked down one last time. The grove glowed softly, a beacon in the green sea of trees. She whispered a farewell in the old tongue. Then they jumped to warp. The journey was long and tense. The dead zone lived up to its name. No stars, no signals, only silence and drifting wreckage from ancient wars. Strange energy echoes played tricks on the mind. Claire saw flashes of Earth, her childhood home, her mother's smile. Luna heard her mother's voice calling from the dark, but they held on. After 17 days, they reached the veil. The black hole loomed ahead, a hungry eye in the void. Around it spun a ring of shattered moons and ancient stations, all glowing with faint blue light. "The path is narrow," Luna said, hands steady on the sky bloom's thought interface. "Follow my lead." They navigated through twisting gravity currents, past dormant defense drones that hummed to life, but recognized Luna's genetic signature and let them pass. Finally, they entered a tunnel of light and emerged inside a vast, hollow world. The vault was alive. Trees grew from floating islands. Rivers flowed upward into glowing clouds. Buildings of crystal and living metal spiraled toward a sky lit by an artificial sun. And in the center, on a floating platform, rested the Genesis core, a sphere of swirling light pulsing like a heart. They landed on a wide platform. The air smelled of rain and ozone. As they stepped out, figures emerged from the mist, not ghosts but guardians. Tall, shimmering constructs made of light and memory, shaped like Silthari warriors. "Welcome, daughter of the line," one said, its voice like wind through chimes. Luna bowed her head. "I have returned." The guardians led them to the core chamber. There, Luna explained the ritual. To activate the Genesis core, two must stand together. One of Silthari blood, one of chosen bond. Their life forces would merge with the core, and for a moment, they would become the bridge between past and future. "It will hurt," Luna warned Claire. "Your body will change. Your mind will open. You might see things, feel things. You can't unsee." Claire didn't hesitate. "I'm ready." They stepped onto the platform. The guardians formed a circle. Ember and Stormwing watched from below, tense but trusting. Luna took Claire's hands. "Whatever happens, I'm with you." The core awakened. Light poured into them. Claire screamed. Not from pain, but from overwhelming sensation. She felt every heartbeat of every Silthari who ever lived. She saw stars being born, civilizations rising and falling, dragons singing to newborn planets. And Luna felt Claire's memories too. Earth's oceans, human laughter, the stubborn hope that kept Claire fighting even when all seemed lost. Their DNA intertwined. When it was over, they collapsed, gasping. Claire's eyes now held flecks of green, like Luna's. Her skin glowed faintly in the dark. Luna's hair shimmered with strands of warm brown. They were changed. Together, the Genesis core pulsed brighter. A signal shot out, not a location but a message, a call. To all who resisted, all who hoped, all who remembered. The Silthari were not gone. They had evolved. Weeks passed as they studied the vault. Maya and Jesse worked with the Guardians to unlock old tech. Daniel's crew helped map safe routes out of the dead zone. And Luna and Claire trained, learning to use their new abilities, to heal with a touch, to speak without words, to sense danger before it came. But peace never lasted long. One day, an alarm echoed through the vault. A ship had breached the outer veil, not Krell. Something worse. A council enforcer. The Galactic Council had discovered the signal, and they did not want the Silthari returning. They feared what the Genesis core could do. Upset the balance, shift power. Free species from control. The enforcer ship was sleek, silent, armed with null fields designed to shut down Silthari tech. They'll try to destroy the core, Luna said. Then we stop them, Claire replied. This time, they did not fight alone. Daniels launched the Iron Wren. Maya activated ancient defense satellites hidden in the debris ring. Stormwing and Ember led a swarm of vault-born dragon constructs, beings of light and plasma, forged in Silthari myth, and Luna and Claire stood at the core, hands joined, minds united, as the Enforcer ship fired its null beam. They channeled the core's energy, not as a weapon but as a wave of pure memory. It washed over the ship, flooding the crew with visions of what could be, a galaxy united, not ruled. Healed, not controlled, the Enforcer ship powered down. Its crew stepped out, dazed, changed. We didn't understand, their captain said, tears in her eyes. We were wrong. News spread. Within months, ships began arriving at the Veil. Not to attack, but to ask. To learn. To join. The Silthari were not returning as rulers. They were rising as teachers, and at the heart of it all stood Luna and Claire, elf and human, princess and rebel, two souls who chose each other in a broken galaxy and dared to believe in a better one. One evening, as they stood on the highest floating island, watching new stars form in the artificial sky, Claire smiled. We did it. Luna leaned into her. No, we're just beginning. Months had passed since the Veil opened its doors to the galaxy. What began as a hidden sanctuary had become a beacon. Ships of all kinds now drifted through the debris ring. Not warships, but transports, science vessels, even old refugee arcs painted with hopeful symbols. They came seeking healing, knowledge, or simply a place where the Krell and the Council could not reach them. Luna and Claire stood at the edge of the central platform, watching a new arrival dock. A small vessel from the outer colonies, its hull patched with mismatched metal. Families stepped out wide-eyed, clutching children in worn satchels. Ember trotted over to greet them, her copper scales gleaming, tail wagging like a happy dog. Stormwing perched above, letting out a soft hum that calmed the nervous newcomers. They trust us, Claire said, her voice quiet with awe. Because you showed them they could, Luna replied. The changes in Claire were no longer just physical. Her mind had grown sharper, her empathy deeper. She could sense fear in a crowd, calm a crying child with a touch, even understand the low thoughts of the vault's light dragons. Luna, too, had changed. She no longer carried the weight of the last alone. She laughed more, smiled more. Sometimes, she even danced under the artificial stars, pulling Claire into clumsy spins that ended in breathless laughter. But peace, as they had learned, was never absolute. One evening, as they reviewed star charts with Daniels and Maya, an alert flashed on the vault's main screen. Not from the Krell, not from the Council, from Earth. Claire's hands froze. Earth had been silent since she left. The resistance she once knew had been crushed. The planet was under strict Council control. Its people watched, its history rewritten. But now, a faint signal pulsed through old emergency channels. A code only the inner resistance used. It's a distress call, Claire whispered. From my old base. They're still alive. Daniels leaned forward. If the Council finds out they're using Silthari-linked tech, they'll burn the whole sector. We have to go, Claire said. Luna didn't argue. She knew this was more than duty. It was closure. Preparations began at once. The Sky Bloom was refitted for stealth. Stormwing and Ember would stay to guard the vault. Daniels would follow in the Iron Wren, but remain hidden in the asteroid belt, just in case. As they boarded the Sky Bloom, Claire turned to Luna. This might be dangerous, really dangerous. So was saving you in the valley, Luna said simply. And I'd do it again. The journey to Earth took 10 days. Each one weighed heavier on Claire. She hadn't thought about home in so long, not truly. Not without pain. But now, with Luna beside her, the memories felt different. Not wounds. Roots. When they reached the solar system, they found it changed. Earth's orbit was lined with Council monitors. Drones scanned every ship. The moon bore new structures, military, cold, lifeless. We can't land openly, Luna said. We won't, Claire replied. There's an old storm drain beneath the resistance bunker. It connects to the old subway tunnels. If it's still clear, they cloaked the sky bloom and slipped through the orbital net like a shadow. It landed in a dry riverbed outside what was once Chicago, now called Sector 7 by the Council. Under cover of night, they moved through the ruins. Buildings stood hollow, windows dark. Propaganda screens flickered with Council slogans. Order brings peace. Resistance is disease. Claire led the way, her steps sure despite the ache in her chest. They reached the drain entrance, rusted but intact. Inside, the tunnel was damp, filled with the sound of dripping water and distant echoes. Halfway through, Claire stopped. Someone's coming! They hid behind a collapsed pillar. Footsteps echoed. Light. Quick. A figure appeared, hooded, scanning the tunnel with a handheld scanner. Claire stepped out. Mara! The figure froze, then pulled back her hood. It was a woman Claire's age with short black hair and a scar across her cheek. Her eyes widened. Claire, you're alive. Barely. Claire said, smiling. What's happening? Mara's face fell. They found us. The Council. They're rounding up everyone who ever had contact with the Resistance. They say the Silthari are a threat, that anyone linked to them is a traitor. How did they know about the link? Your last transmission, Mara said. Before your ship went dark, they traced it. And now they're using it to hunt us. Luna stepped forward. We didn't mean to bring danger. Mara looked at her, really looked, and gasped. You're real. I am, Luna said. And I won't let them take your people. Mara led them deep underground to a hidden chamber beneath an old library. Dozens of men, women, and children huddled there, faces tired but eyes sharp. When they saw Claire, a murmur rose. When they saw Luna, silence fell. An old man stepped forward. You came back? I did, Claire said, and I'm getting you out. But escape wouldn't be easy. The Council had locked down the city, scanners at every exit, patrols every hour. Luna studied the layout. We need a distraction. That night, while the others slept, Luna and Claire slipped out. Using her new abilities, Luna tapped into the city's old power grid, forgotten lines that still hummed beneath the streets. She sent a pulse through them, just enough to overload a Council relay station on the far side of the city. Alarms blared. Lights flickered. Patrols rushed to the scene. Now, Claire whispered. They led the group through the tunnels, moving fast and quiet. Children held hands. Elders leaned on canes made of scrap metal. Mara carried a small box. The last data core, she said. Everything we saved. They reached the riverbed just before dawn. The sky bloom waited, cloaked in mist. But as the last person climbed aboard, red lights flashed in the sky. Council enforcers, 3 dropships descended, weapons humming. Go, Claire yelled. Luna shook her head. Not without you. She raised her hands. Energy gathered around her. Not fire, not lightning, but pure Silthari resonance. It pulsed outward, hitting the enforcers' suits. For a moment, their systems glitched. Their weapons shut down. What did you do? Claire asked, pulling her aboard. I reminded their tech who built it first, Luna said with a small smile. The sky bloom shot upward, weaving through the chaos. Daniels's ship appeared from the asteroid belt, firing decoy flares to draw fire. They escaped just as the sun rose over Earth. Back at the Vale, the refugees were welcomed with open arms. The vault's healers tended to their wounds. The Guardians showed them floating gardens and quiet rooms where they could sleep without fear. Claire stood with Mara on a high balcony, watching the new arrivals settle in. You gave them a home, Mara said. We all did, Claire replied. Later, Luna found her staring at the stars. Do you miss it? Luna asked. Earth? Parts of it, Claire said. But home isn't a place anymore. It's who you're with. Luna took her hand. Then you're home. But their peace was tested once more. A week later, a massive signal echoed through the Vale. Not a ship, but a broadcast. From the Krell High Command. A hologram appeared in the core chamber. A Krell warlord, taller than any before, his armor lined with Silthari bone fragments. Trophies. Last princess, he growled. You hide behind your new pets. But we have found the truth. The Genesis core can be turned. Not to heal, but to control. We will take it, and we will make every species bow to the Krell will. Then the image shifted. Behind him stood rows of cages. Inside were beings of all kinds, humans, Virelians, even young dragons, captured, collared, their eyes dull. Surrender the core, the warlord said, or they die. The chamber fell silent. Daniels slammed her fist on the table. They're bluffing. No, Luna said softly. They're not. Claire looked at the faces in the cages. One was a child, no older than 10, clutching a broken toy. We can't let them do this, she said. We won't, Luna replied. But we won't play their game either. That night, they made a new plan. They would not surrender. They would not attack blindly. They would go to the Krell homeworld, not to fight, but to free. Using the Genesis core, Luna and Claire would project a shared vision into the minds of every captive, giving them strength, hope, a signal to rise up. Daniels would lead a strike team to disable the collars, and Stormwing, now healed and stronger than ever, would lead the Vault's dragon swarm to create chaos in the skies. It was risky, nearly impossible, but they had done the impossible before. As they prepared, Claire turned to Luna. If something happens to me, don't, Luna said, cutting her off. We go together. We come back together. Claire nodded. Together. The fleet launched at dawn, Skybloom in the lead, Iron Wren behind, followed by a dozen rebel ships and a swirling cloud of light dragons. They jumped straight into the heart of Krell space. The homeworld was a nightmare of metal and fire. Towers of bone and steel rose into a blood-red sky. The air stank of oil and fear. But as they approached, something unexpected happened. From the cages, a light began to glow. The captives, strengthened by Luna and Claire's shared vision, began to break free. One by one, then in waves. The collars sparked and fell. Guards were overwhelmed not by weapons but by unity. By the time the rebel fleet arrived, the Krell were already losing control. Stormwing led the dragons in a sonic storm that shattered command towers. Daniel's team hit the main power grid, and Luna and Claire, standing together on the Skybloom's deck, reached out with their joined minds and touched the warlord himself. He screamed as centuries of Silthari memory flooded him, not of war, but of beauty. Of forests singing, of stars being born, of a mother holding her child. For the first time he felt shame. When it was over, the warlord knelt. I did not know. The Vale had become more than a sanctuary, it was a seed. From its floating islands and glowing rivers, hope spread across the galaxy like starlight through dust. Ships came not just for safety, but to learn. Humans, Virelians, even former Krell defectors studied the Silthari ways. Healing with energy, speaking through thought, living in balance with dragons and nature. Luna taught them. Claire guided them. Together, they showed that strength did not mean conquest and power did not mean control. But even as peace grew, a quiet unease settled in Luna's heart. She had seen the warlord kneel. She had felt his shame, but she also knew the truth. Empires do not die from one defeat. They rot from within, and that rot takes time. Somewhere in the dark, the old hunger still stirred. One night, as she walked the upper gardens alone, a message arrived. Not through comms, but through the Genesis core itself. A pulse faint and broken from deep in the void. It carried no words, only pain, and a name. Mother. Luna froze. Her mother had vanished during the fall of the Silthari capital over 200 years ago. Everyone assumed she was dead. But the core did not lie. And Silthari blood called to Silthari blood. She found Claire in the healing grove, helping a young refugee with a fever. Ember lay curled at the child's feet, her warmth soothing the girl's shivers. I have to go, Luna said. Claire looked up. We're to the edge of the dead zone. Beyond the veil, the core. It hurt her. Claire didn't ask if it was real. She saw the truth in Luna's eyes. Then I'm coming with you. It could be a trap. Then we spring it together. They prepared in secret. The Sky Bloom was refitted for deep-range travel. Stormwing would stay to guard the vault, but Ember insisted on coming, nuzzling Luna's hand until she gave in. Daniels agreed to watch over the veil in their absence. 3 days later, they launched into the black. The journey took them farther than they'd ever gone, past the last known star, into a region where space itself seemed to sleep. No signals, no light, only silence. Then they saw it. A ship, ancient, broken, half swallowed by an asteroid field. Silthery design but warped, twisted by time and something else. Dark energy clung to its hull like mold. That's not right, Claire whispered. Luna's hands trembled on the controls. It's her ship. The Star Lily. They docked carefully. Inside, the air was stale, the walls cracked. Vines of black crystal grew along the corridors, unnatural, pulsing faintly. At the heart of the ship, in the command chamber, sat a figure on a throne of bone and light. Queen Saria, Luna's mother. But she was not as Luna remembered. Her silver hair was streaked with black. Her eyes glowed red. And around her floated shards of corrupted Siltheri tech humming with wrongness. You came, the Queen said. Her voice was both familiar and strange, like a song played backward. Mother. What happened to you? Luna asked, stepping forward. I survived, Saria replied. When the Krell came, I fled, not to hide but to find power. I went to the void beyond the veil where even stars fear to shine. And there, I found the Hollow Ones. Claire stiffened. The Hollow Ones, beings of pure hunger, Saria said. They offered me strength. In exchange, I gave them a piece of our bloodline, our light. Now I am more than Siltheri. I am eternal. You're not eternal, Luna said softly. You're lost, Saria's eyes flared. I am reborn, and soon the whole galaxy will join me. The Hollow Ones will cleanse it, strip away weakness, fear, death. All will be one. All will be perfect, Claire stepped beside Luna. That's not perfection. That's emptiness, Saria laughed, a sound like breaking glass. You think love and hope will save you? Look at your world. It is still bleeding. Still broken. I offer peace. True peace. Then she raised her hand. The black crystals on the walls pulsed. Shadows peeled away from the floor, forming shapes, twisted versions of Silthari warriors. Their eyes empty, their movements jerky. You will join me, Saria said. Willingly, or not. Luna and Claire ran. They raced through the crumbling corridors, Ember hissing at their heels, spitting plasma at the shadow creatures that gave chase. The Sky Bloom was their only way out, but the docking bay was sealed. We have to get to the core chamber, Luna said. If we can disrupt her link to the Hollow Ones, we can break her control. They fought their way back, using every trick they'd learned. Claire used her enhanced reflexes to dodge attacks. Luna channeled pure Siltheri light to burn away the black crystals. Ember melted locks with precise bursts. In the core chamber, Saria waited. You cannot win, she said. I am your blood, your past. Your fate. No, Luna said. You are a warning. She reached into the Genesis Core's echo within her and pulled, not to attack, to remember. She flooded the room with memories. Her mother singing lullabies under Virelia's twin moons, planting the first seed in the grove, holding Luna's hand as she took her first steps. Love. Real love. Saria screamed. The red light in her eyes flickered. For a moment the Queen was herself again, terrified, grieving, human in her pain. Luna. Run, she whispered. Then the Hollow Ones answered. The ship shook. Black tendrils burst through the walls, reaching for them. Now, Claire yelled. Luna slammed her hands onto the old ship's core console. She poured her energy, not to destroy but to awaken. The Star Lily, though broken, still remembered its purpose. With a final groan, it overloaded. The explosion threw them into the Sky Bloom just as the ship collapsed inward. Swallowed by the asteroid field, they escaped but not unharmed. Back at the Veil, Luna fell into a deep sleep. The encounter with her mother had torn something inside her. Claire stayed by her side, holding her hand, whispering stories of Earth, of the Grove, of their future. For 3 days, Luna did not wake. On the 4th morning, she opened her eyes. She's still out there, she said. Maybe, Claire replied, but she's not you. And she'll never have what we have. Luna sat up slowly. The Hollow Ones are real, and if they're spreading, the whole galaxy is in danger. Not from war, but from silence. From losing what makes us alive. They called a council. Daniels, Maya, Jesse, Mara, and leaders from a dozen species gathered in the core chamber. Luna told them everything. "We can't fight this with weapons," she said. "The hollow ones feed on despair, on loneliness. The only thing that stops them is connection." So they built something new. Using the Genesis core, they created resonance nodes, small, glowing orbs that could be carried on ships, planted on worlds, worn as pendants. Each one carried a piece of the Veil's song. Laughter, dragon hums, children playing, trees growing. Wherever a node was placed, the hollow ones could not go. Ships left the Veil by the hundreds, carrying nodes to every corner of known space, but Luna knew it wasn't enough. "We have to go to the source," she told Claire one night, "to the place beyond the last star." "It's suicide," Claire said. "Maybe," Luna admitted. "But if we don't, everything we've built will fade." Claire looked at her for a long time. Then she smiled. "Then we go together." This time they were not alone. Stormwing returned from patrol, his wings healed, his eyes fierce. Ember chirped and nudged Luna's leg. Daniel stood at the ramp of the Iron Wren, arms crossed. "You didn't think we'd let you go alone, did you?" Behind her stood dozens of volunteers, humans, Virelians, even a young Krell who had been freed from the collars. They carried nodes. They carried hope. The fleet launched at dawn. They traveled for weeks deeper than any had gone. Space grew thin. Stars vanished. Even time felt strange. Then, they saw it. A rift in reality. A tear where light died and silence began. From it pulsed a cold so deep it hurt to look at. The hollow ones waited. They had no form, only absence. Where they passed, color faded, sound stopped, heart slowed. But the fleet did not falter. Luna and Claire stood on the Sky Bloom's deck, hands joined. They activated the Genesis core one last time, not to fight, but to sing. And the fleet sang with them. Every ship played its node. Every person held hands. Stormwing roared a dragon song older than stars. Ember's scales blazed like a sun. Daniels broadcast earth music, old jazz, children's rhymes, protest songs. Mara recited poetry. Jesse played a flute carved from Virelian wood. The song was messy, human, alive, and the hollow ones recoiled. The rift shuddered. Light returned, faint at first, then stronger. The tear began to close, but it needed more. Luna looked at Claire. "One of us has to stay. To anchor the song." "No," Claire said. "We both go." "Or neither." Luna kissed her, quick, fierce, full of everything words could not say. Then together they stepped into the rift. Light exploded. Not fire, not destruction. Pure creation. The hollow ones did not die. They unraveled, not into nothing, but into possibility. The rift sealed, and where it had been, a new star bloomed. Back on the fleet, silence fell. Then, a signal, faint but clear, from the sky bloom. It drifted out of the newborn star's light, empty. But on its deck, two pendants lay side by side, glowing softly. Still warm, Daniels picked them up. Tears fell on the metal. Weeks later, the fleet returned to the Veil. They told the story, not as a tragedy but as a promise. Because though Luna and Claire were gone, their song remained, in every node, in every child's laugh, in every dragon's hum. They lived, and on quiet nights when the twin moons rose and the grove sang its old song, some swore they saw two figures walking hand in hand through the trees, silver hair and brown-green eyes and warm hands. Forever together, the last princess and the human who chose her had not died. They had become the light.